If you're a woman over 40, there's something I want you to know. Something I wish someone had told me years ago. This isn't the beginning of your decline, it's the beginning of your power. For most of my life, I thought there was something wrong with me because I didn't fit in. So I tried to tone it down, be quieter. But now at 49, I'm kind of done with that because I've realized now those things I was criticized for, they were my gifts. And if you've spent decades feeling like you're wrong or weird in some way, maybe you need to hear this. There is nothing wrong with you. You were built for so much more. And this stage of life is when that truth starts to break through big time. So I'm Rachel, and this channel is for what I call evolutionaries. People who care deeply, feel everything, and still want to help make things better. In this video, I want to show you 3 things. Why your brilliance has been misunderstood for so long, why being over 40 changes so much, and how to finally start using your gifts without apology and without waiting for permission. If you've spent your life feeling too intense, too sensitive, too complicated, there's a reason for that. You weren't too much. You were just wired differently than the people around you. And no one told you that. So instead of being recognized, you were often misunderstood and even punished for it. It looked like getting in trouble because you asked questions no one wanted to answer. Or maybe going completely silent, zoning out, doing the bare minimum because you were bored and just trying to make it through the day. And for all of that, you were often punished. Maybe you got the right answer without showing your work, and instead of praise, you were accused of cheating. Maybe you questioned a rule that didn't make sense and got labeled disruptive or dramatic. Or maybe you didn't say anything at all, and they called you lazy, unmotivated, wasting your potential. So you learned to hide, to downplay what you saw, to twist yourself into something more acceptable. But the truth is, those patterns, the intensity, the insight, the restlessness, they point to something real, something we don't talk about enough: giftedness. Not being better, not being perfect, but a different kind of wiring. One that sees deeply, feels everything, and can't stop asking, why is the world like this? And how can it be better? And when that kind of mind goes unrecognized, especially in women, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like being broken. Because you didn't fit the mold. You didn't get the praise. You didn't live up to the potential other people projected onto you. Or maybe you were never even seen in the first place. And for decades, you might have carried that sense that something in you was off, too checked out or too ambitious or too unfocused. But the truth is, those traits weren't flaws, they were gifts. Just ones the world didn't have the first idea what to do with. And I'd love to hear in the comments, what's one way you were misunderstood or even punished for the way you think or feel? So something amazing happens when you hit your 40s. Estrogen starts to drop, and with it, the chemicals that once made you more compliant, more agreeable, more focused on caretaking and keeping the peace. Estrogen is literally designed to help you nurture, accommodate, and smooth things over. But when it fades, so does your ability and your willingness to keep sacrificing yourself for everyone else. And even if you take HRT and testosterone like I do, something still shifts. Because what's dropping isn't just a hormone, it's the veil. It's like you were under a spell your whole adult life. One that made you smaller, easier to be around. And then the spell starts to break. You don't become someone new, you just remember who you were before the world taught you to forget. You lose patience for pretending. You stop bending yourself into something you're not. You say no faster and mean it. And perhaps for the first time, you wonder, what if I don't need to be fixed? What if this is who I've always been and I'm done hiding it? That's when your gifts begin to come into their own. Not because the world finally changed, but because you did. What happens when you stop waiting for permission and start asking, what can my gifts actually do now that I'm not apologizing for them? This is where being over 40 becomes your superpower. Because for the first time, you have perspective, wisdom out of all those decades of trial and error. And let's be honest, you have zero patience left for bullshit. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not contorting yourself to be liked. You're not waiting to be picked. Maybe you start saying the thing no one else is willing to say, even if your voice shakes a bit. Or turning your lifelong obsession with justice or nature or language into something tangible like a blog or a community. Or simply it's deciding, I don't care if anyone else gets it. I get it. And that's enough to begin. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real and yours and now. This channel, it's me finally doing the things I used to wait for someone else to give me permission to do. For years, I hoped someone would show up and say, we see you. Here's a place for your voice. But eventually I realized that wasn't coming. So I started building what I needed, and I started letting my gifts lead the way. So for example, I use my change maker giftedness, the part of me that can't stop seeing what's broken in the world and wants to fix it. It used to feel like a burden, but now it's the foundation of everything I do, building a new kind of community for people like us. I use my existential giftedness, the part that's always asking the big questions. What matters? What's worth doing? How do we live in alignment with our values? And I use my emotional giftedness, the part that can feel what others are feeling, even when they can't say it. That's the part that allows me to write and speak in a way that I hope helps people feel seen and less alone. These gifts were always there, but in midlife, I stopped hiding them in the back closet and started using them on purpose. I deliberately appreciate them now. I develop them. I let them burn brighter, and I hope you will do the same. I want to invite you to take one small step that might shift how you see yourself. I created a free quiz based on the 12 types of giftedness I've seen most often in people like us. It's designed to help you notice the strengths you've probably downplayed, hidden, or assumed were just how you are. You can find the link to the quiz below in the description if you want to go straight to it, and then head to the video where I walk through each of the 12 types in more depth. It's a simple way to begin recognizing what's already there and to start letting your gifts lead too. And if you're ready to stop hiding and start building something with others who get it, I'd love to invite you to join the waitlist for Evolutionaries United, the membership community I'm creating. It's for people like us who are gifted, sensitive, purpose-driven, and who are finally done trying to fit into systems that were never made for us. And we're ready to start building something better. You'll find the link below. So if you spent years thinking you were too weird, too independent, or too different, what if those were your gifts all along? What if being over 40 is simply the moment when you stop waiting to be discovered and start discovering what you can actually do? I hope this feels like the right moment to start using your gifts on purpose, because you're exactly where you need to be. And this is the beginning of an adventure we're only getting started on. See you soon.